Let's go. Let's kick it off. Miami Dolphins, man. If we're grading the free agency, which we're not, we're talking about the draft. Free agency, I'm giving them, like an A-, man. B plus, A-. I'm really loving it. The draft, we only had 4 picks, y'all. So it's not a whole lot to talk about today. But y'all know me. Look, I'm a huge Miami Dolphins fan. Man, look, if I was an alien, you'd cut me open and I'd bleed aqua and orange, man. Look, I love this team. Let's go ahead. Let's kick it off, man. Channing Tindall, man, Georgia. One of, if this wasn't such a stacked linebacker draft, I could see him possibly going like mid-second, man. Very good linebacker. He's great at open field tackles, great on the edge, very fast. And I'm gonna go ahead. Matter of fact, we're gonna open up his profile. We're gonna learn a little bit more about Mr. Tindall, and then we'll cover the other 3 guys here very briefly. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. And one thing I like about Channing Tindall, he's there with Jerome Baker, man. He's there with, we're going to be coming off the edge 100 miles an hour, man. 6'2", 230 pounds. Pretty good 40 time. 4.47, vertical jump 42 inches, broad jump 129. Him and Nakobe Dean were 2 peas in a pod. If you watch them at Georgia, oftentimes Tindall would have the guy wrapped up and then Nakobe would follow, or vice versa. Nakobe would have the guy wrapped up and Tindall's not far behind him. So they're right there. It's obviously, I would say Nakobe Dean is probably the better linebacker. I was really hoping we would get him, if I'm being honest. But Tindall's also a great pickup too, man. These guys won the national championship and they shut down Alabama. One of, if not the best offensive teams in all of college football. Then there's the next pick, round 4. And then after this pick, we're already halfway through our picks. But Eric Azukanma, hopefully I'm saying that correct. Please correct me if I'm not. I like this pickup, man. I was a little shocked, being that, hey, we got not 1 but 2 really good receivers in free agency, and Wilson, and then also the Cheetah. We got those 2 guys. So, but Eric, man, if you watch his tape, man, he is a yards after catch guy. You catch him on the dig route, you catch him on a slant route, and he's very hard to tackle, man. I want to say he's 220 pounds, 6'2". Let me see. Yep, 6'2", 209 pounds. But in the draft, they had him at I think 219 or something like that. Arms very long, vertical jump 36, broad jump 126. 20-yard shuttle is very good. I like this guy, man. I like this guy. They call him Easy as well too, man, because he goes out there and he makes it look easy. If y'all don't remember, Texas Tech had one of the better receiver cores out there in college football. So I like this pickup, man. We have a lot of depth, and all I'm going to say is guys like Preston Williams, man, your time is up. And some of these other receivers out there, man, deep, because it's a deep depth chart, man. Not everybody's going to make the team, man. So we got to have the absolute best receivers out there, right? So moving on, Cameron Good. Look, I've never heard of him before the draft. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here lie like, oh, yes, he had this play. But from what I read up on him is that he had an injury last year. He's back fully healthy now. But when he was out, the whole defense was completely different and completely out of sync. This is a guy, Texas kid, 6'3", 240. He's a baller, man. He knows how to get to the quarterback. One thing I like about him is that he knows how to get off the block. If you're watching a lot of tape, the stats they're okay. It's nothing to be super wowed about. But again, it was our second linebacker in this year's draft. So, man, we're really shored up, man. I like it. I like this pick. I'm not mad at it at all, man. If it's a good player, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to complain. And then the last pick of the draft, it's funny because in my mock draft, I did have us getting Dustin Crum from Kent State, some type of quarterback, if in the event Tua went down. And then the other guy that we got from the Broncos didn't work out as well, too. But here we go. Scott Thompson, Kansas State. Some of y'all on Twitter are going crazy. I see your conversations, and y'all calling him the next Tom Brady. Chill out. All right. But, hey, if it happens, I'm not complaining because I'm a Miami fan before I'm a Tua fan. And I'm a Tua fan.
Let me save you some time. It won't. So let's dead that conversation.
Well, hey, you never know. You never know.
Safe to say.
This guy was a baller, man, at Kansas State, man. I really like him a lot. I love what I see on tape. Smaller school, but, man, they they create a lot of ballers there, man. Not a whole lot of people from Kansas State in this draft, though. I will say he might have been maybe like one of two people from Kansas State to be drafted. So, but hey, you never know. I like they made a good point in the draft. I heard some announcers talking, and it said it's good to draft a quarterback because if you get a guy off the market, he's going to cost more money because you know what he's going to bring, right? You take a chance. This is a low risk, high reward with Skylar Thompson, right? There's a few other guys. I wish we would have got Dustin Crum. There's a few other guys. Actually, the quarterback who the Patriots got, he's super dope. He just got a quarterback from Western Kentucky. He broke the touchdown record for college football. He actually broke Joe Burrow's record, as a matter of fact, which is beyond impressive. And again, it's Western Kentucky, but still very impressive. But I like this pickup. Overall, look, man, I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm not being a hater. I give this draft a C+. But hey, here's the kicker. We had a phenomenal free agency, and this ain't a free agency grade. This is a NFL draft grade. I'm giving it a C+. I really wish we would have got a center with one of these picks, y'all. Let's call it what it is. All right. I like it though. I like the picks that we got. I'm really not complaining. So I give it a C+. But again, the center is very important. I'm hoping that we bring in some UDFAs to create some competition. Because this is a very, this is a very deep draft in O linemen, very deep. I mean, there was, potential starters going in the fourth round, right? So I really would have liked one of these, Channing or Eric, to take and be a center, but nonetheless, I like our draft. C+ is what I give it.
I'm gonna give you my grade on the Dolphins, and I think you're generous with the C+, bro. I got them as a solid C- for this draft, okay. And I get it. They had the limited picks. But I, like you said, I love their free agency. What they did this offseason, I think, put them in a position to compete heavily, right? And I think they put a lot of the moves that they made where they basically said, without saying it, right? Hey, Tua, if you're the guy, this is the time to prove it. Because if you're not, you're out of here this next year. I think that's I think it's understood. Like, it's said without being said. So talking about the 4 picks, and I know it's kind of hard, like, oh, you only got 4 picks. How do you nail that? Well, I think it's much easier to nail 4 than it is to nail 8. Channing Tindall, right? We talked a lot at the top of the hour about Georgia and how dominant that program is, and I even said that might have been the best college defense that I've seen in a long time, maybe even in the history of college football, right? So you get excited when you hear a name, Channing Tindall, linebacker out of Georgia. You're like, yes, we got one.
Yeah.
Hold your horses.
Yeah.
Because Channing Tindall, and I'm not hating on the kid, and we know the talent that played in front of him, right? He couldn't catch on as a starter in his first 3 seasons. He did not even start in 2021. He was a rotational. He made impact when he was on the field, right? I think that's fair to say. But it's not like he was inspiring the fear of God in offenses and stuff like that, right? I think he's got some consistent like tracking of the football and things of that nature. But I think his issue, right, because he's going to be playing interior, he kind of loses people over the middle. When you saw him, he was a little bit slow to react when receivers would run those crossing patterns over the middle. So I do have some concerns there. And he bit on almost every single misdirection action play. Like, he bit on it hard and found himself out of position. So this is a guy that I don't think is going to come in and start for them. I would hope the expectation isn't that he's coming in and starting. I think he kind of needs to sit behind somebody for a little bit, and maybe on the back half of the season that he'll get some more starts and stuff like that. But I think he has a lot to learn, especially because I think that defense that you guys are going to run is going to be more zone defense, which is kind of the stuff that he struggled in. So like I said, I think he's got potential, but it was a head scratcher for me. I thought there were better choices for the fit there. Eric, how do you want to pronounce this name? Ezukanma. Yeah. So Eric Ezukanma, right? He is probably the best receiver to come out of Texas Tech since one Michael Crabtree. And I think he actually broke a couple of Crabtree's records down there at Texas Tech. So I like I like this guy. I think in terms of what he's going to be bringing to Miami, I think this is your jump ball receiver, right? Because he's not the fastest receiver. He's still fast enough, right? I think he's like 4.47, 4.5, something like that, right? Yeah. And he's 6'2", so he's got the body for it, right? He's got the long arms, bigger frame. I think he plays at about 200, 210, right? So he's going to be able to compete with some of these larger corners and stuff that we're going to start seeing make their way into the league. But I think this is your jump ball possession receiver. And I think you need that because you got Jalen Waddle, right, who's got the speed, Tyreek Hill, who also has the speed. Both of these guys have the ability to stretch the field, run the crossing, or hit over the middle, right? But you still need that one big jump ball receiver. And I think that's what he's going to do. They're not counting on him to run a lot of route running because that was his biggest knock coming out this year, was that he is not as polished of a route runner as you would expect for somebody who started for 3 years. So that'll probably take some time to develop. And I think Mike McDaniels is the guy to really help him do that. I think Mike McDaniels, in terms of offense and how he schemes his offenses, this is a guy who, when I talk about we're going to be evaluating this draft 3 years from now, I think this is a guy 3 years from now we're going to look and say, yeah, that was a really, really solid grab for the Dolphins in round 4, right? I don't think he'll be a household name, but I think he's a guy that you want to make sure that he's in your Madden lineup and possibly on your fantasy lineup. And that for me, that is probably where I stop with this draft for the Miami Dolphins. Like that Cameron Good, I don't know enough about him to really give him
I never heard of him before the draft.
Fair grade. And then I understand, like, you made a good point about the argument for the quarterback. I think the pick makes sense, not the player that they chose. I'm like you. I wanted somebody like a Dustin Crum or somebody else in there. Yeah. So, obviously they don't want to spend too high because you hope that you have the guy in the building already. But if we're just grading this draft, man, just based off of these players and what they've produced so far, for me, this is a C- on them. But I think it's, like I said, I think it's okay because they kind of offset it with a pretty amazing offseason.
Yeah. No, again, that offseason free agency was phenomenal. So, like, before y'all come and me and my boy Adrian, look, we're not grading the free agency. We're grading the draft. All right. But I wanted to add too, like Dustin Crum, I felt like he has more. The dude wants to be a freaking starter one day. Mm-hmm. He wants to. I don't know. And maybe I need to do, not maybe, I definitely need to do more homework on Skylar Thompson other than just watching the film. Mm-hmm. But Skylar, it was cool. He's real humble. He's real happy to be in Miami. But yeah, man, I want someone to.
I'm gonna say the same thing to you that I said to Mike, because Mike was talking. I can't remember who we were talking about. We were talking about high character guys and humility and stuff like that. I said, humility never won a championship.
Yeah,
you can't humble your way into a championship.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, I like that for the locker room. I like that for the culture and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's bad to be a humble person. Yeah. I'm just saying people talk about humility as if that's a trait that wins football games. It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's should be interesting for Miami. But again, I'll say this with Miami, look, we're almost a complete team. We are. But we need to fix up that O-line. I'm excited about our UDFAs. I'm going to do another episode on another day up regarding Miami. We're going to move on to the Jets right now, but I will say.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it? Because this is probably one of my favorite drafts of this year. Like this team. Yeah. This team. Man. Spoiler alert. I'm going to let you go first, Doug, but spoiler alert, they get an A. They get an A. They get an A plus for me.
Hey, man, look, I'm a Miami fan. I had no reason to be nice to New York Jets, the team, not the fans. I don't believe in putting people down. But Lord have mercy, they get an A. Let's get to it. Okay, Sauce Gardner. Look, man, depending on who you talk to, he's maybe even the number one, even though he went number 2 as far as cornerbacks goes. The man is a dog, man. He was a huge anchor in the secondary for Cincinnati, man. Then you go to Garrett Wilson, one of the best. Depending on who you talk to, maybe he is even the best, right? We about to find out, right? Because all these cats are in the NFL now. Then you got, as far as receivers goes, then you got Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson, he's not even like a friendly guy, man. But dude, his mind is just like, look, you see some guys that get drafted and the hunger goes away. We see that, like, man, man, what happened, man? They got an NFL, they got soft, or I don't know what's going on, man. Man, not with Jermaine Johnson, Florida State. I've been watching him for a minute, man. And the guy is a beast, man. He's really excited on the field, man. he's an anchor. He's an anchor on that defense, man. And Jets historically love taking defensive players in the first round, man. So for them to go cornerback, probably best cornerback in the draft, possibly best receiver in the draft, one of the better edge rushers in the draft. I love this. And it only gets better, y'all. Breece Hall, Iowa State, bowling ball, north-south runner. I mean, the guy is yards after contact. That's the guy you want. That's the guy you want. I'm saying, look, I'm not saying the Jets are going to win no Super Bowl this year, but, man, we're going to see them move up. I mean, it's the AFC, right? AFC is just a crazy place right now. But this team, this might be the best. I'm just going to say this. This potentially might be the best draft in Jets history. Potentially.
No, I mean, on paper, right, without seeing how they produce, this is the best.
Yeah.
I'm confident saying this is the best draft that they've ever had.
You know, I will say, here, I'm going to say this. I'm going to take and give them overall. This is what I'm going to give them. I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to take and give them an A-, only because I wanted to see a more O-line, but they also got an O-lineman in the free agency. So, yeah, A- is what I give them, man. But I love it, man. Jets balled out, and I love all these. I love all these picks. Soup, I'll go let you take it away, or else I'll talk.
All right, man. This is like I said at the top of it, man. This is probably one of my favorite drafts of the entire cycle this year, right? Like, I cannot believe that they came away with the people they came away with. Mm-hmm. Like, insane, absolutely insane to me, man. Sauce Gardner, don't call him a mod. His name is Sauce, right? Came to the draft with an extra bottle of sauce on top of it. He said, now that I'm in the NFL, bro, I'm just too saucy, okay? This is the number one corner in this draft. Make no mistake about it. Put some respect on this guy's name. I think, you know, if there was not a premium on edge rushers this year, this arguably could have been the number one pick of the draft, and nobody would have argued it at all, right? Fun, like big, fast, physical, right? And this is a kid that is humble and he's not afraid to do the work, but he's confident in his game. He knows what he brings to the table. And on top of that, he did not allow a touchdown in his entire college career.
Yeah.
Not a single touchdown. They asked him after the draft, they said, hey, man, we noticed that you didn't allow any touchdowns. Do you think you're going to be able to continue that streak in the NFL? And, you know, he kind of sits back, he thinks about it, right? Because it's the reality of the NFL. You're going to get scored on.
Yeah.
But he's like, you know, I know what I bring to the table. I know what I do well. And he's like, I'm gonna hold on to the streak for as long as I can. And you gotta like a guy that's got that kind of confidence, man. And like if you're a Jets fan, you should be excited about this guy because he's excited about not only being in NFL, he's excited about going to New York. He's excited about like bringing this football program back to prominence, right? Like Sauce Gardner, and we should talk about the fit with Robert Saleh, right? Defensive mind, defensive head coach. This is a Robert Saleh draft if I ever seen one. Also, I would just like to say this, right? And I'm gonna take some shots at some Jaguars people right now. When your team is as bad as the Jets are, and you have a boatload of early round picks, this is what it's supposed to look like when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
it's supposed to look like hope. It's supposed to look like something that you would construct on a Madden roster. When you're bad and you have this many early picks, this is what it should look like. So every team in the league, take notes. Whoever finishes at the bottom this year, if you have a bunch of picks that you're stacking up, this is what you should walk away with. This kind of draft. Insane. Sauce Gardner, you talked about Garrett Wilson. I hate the school that he's from. I'm a Michigan fan. I'm going to keep saying that. But Garrett Wilson can absolutely fly. Do not let this kid trick you. If you're a cornerback, do not let him trick you. Because if he gets alongside you, he's by you. And he's not afraid to go up and contest for the catch. He's physical, not the biggest receiver. He's only 6 foot. But, man, he's got some wheels on him, right? And I think he's about to be Zach Wilson's new favorite target. The Wilson connection is going to be very, very strong out there in New York. Jermaine Johnson, you talked about it, how he fell down, right? I think when he picked up that swag, the gold jacket with the black leaves and everything like that, you could tell there was a lot of fire behind them shades, bro. He was not happy that he fell down to 26, but the Jets, not afraid to move around the board, traded back into the round to come and get him. And he's going to join the likes of Jonathan Franklin Myers, Quentin Nelson, what's my man that they just re-signed that's coming back? Not Cam Jordan. Oh God, the other edge rusher that they just re-signed. The name will come to me later. But either way, I mean, this is going to be a front, right? This is going to be an absolute front, right? And then they open up the second round. I don't know how he fell into the second, right? I thought if there was going to be any running back taken in the first, it was going to be Breece Hall, but they go back and they get Breece Hall, my number one running back in this year's draft, right? And they added to a backfield that already has Michael Carter. And if you didn't watch a lot of Jets football, one, I don't blame you because it wasn't great to watch anyway. But yeah. Michael Carter had himself a decent season. He was the running back that they grabbed last season. But I think Breece Hall, shifty, explosive, breakaway speed, can catch the ball out of the backfield. This kid does everything you want. He's great in the pass protection and stuff like that.
I think I got the name. Was it Jacob Martin or Solomon Thomas?
No. It's an edge that they just brought back. I can't even remember. I'll get it.
But, Carl Lawson?
Carl Lawson, thank you.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so we got Carl Lawson on one end, Jermaine Johnson on the other end, Jonathan Franklin Myers, Quentin Nelson in the middle. Like, what do you want? Sauce Gardner shoring up the back end of it. Like, this is granted, it's not a perfect defense, but man, you walk away with a lot more hope. The tight end, Jeremy Ruckert out of Ohio State, man, 6'5", 250 pounds. He's going to body some of these linebackers and smaller corners that are going to be covering, not breakaway speed or anything like that, but a big possession. He's going to be a safety blanket for Zach Wilson. Yeah. They really, I'm very impressed with this Jets organization. It shows that there is finally possibly some confidence in the front office in New York. And I think if you're a Jets fan, you got to be excited. Like I said, I think if I gave this draft an A, I'd be lying to myself. To me, this is an A+ for the Jets. It's clearly a new era in New York. Let's see if all the hype and all the talent translates to wins on the football field and what should be a very competitive AFC East.
Yes, sir. No, I agree, man. It's AFC East, man. The whole AFC is just crazy, man. But dude, AFC East is about to be the Jets are not going to be the doormat anymore. Well, they're not, Moving on to the New England Patriots, man. Go ahead, kick it off. They got guard, and real quick, I want to bring up this Cole Strange pick because the coach of I'm pretty sure you saw this, Soup. The coach of the Los Angeles Rams, Coach McVay, was cracking up laughing. He's like, "Oh man, we were looking at him at like 120." Like it was a big reach, but Cole Strange. It's funny because when he got drafted, they brought up like, "Hey, he doesn't have gloves. How strange, Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, man, look, this is a draft. Get your guy, reach or not, get your guy because not everybody in the first round is going to work out either.
Correct.
Not everybody wants to talk about it, but it's true. You know what I mean? There's some guys who, maybe UDFAs, yet alone 7-round picks who work out better than the first round of folks, right? But anywho, Cole Strange, I like the pickup, man. Look, they're going to shore up this O-line. The Patriots, man, for the last 20 years have had one of the best. They're usually, top 5 conversations as far as best O-line in the league most years. Then you got Taekwon Thornton, wide receiver, Baylor. Marcus Jones. I'll be honest with you. This right here. I'm gonna click on this here. Computer's a tad slow, so bear with me, y'all. Marcus Jones is probably my favorite pick. And then my second favorite I shouldn't say favorite because I'm a Miami fan. I got to be biased and treat them bad. But I'm gonna remove my biases, man. Marcus Jones is a fantastic pickup, man. Not very tall at all, but man, his height. Let me see here. We don't have any recorded information as far as like his jumping ability, man. But dude, he is a beast, absolute beast, man. Super long arms, small, 5'8", 174 pounds. That's a small secondary, man. But I'm telling you right now, this is the same franchise that brought in J.C. Jackson as an undrafted free agent, man. Marcus Jones, what I watch on tape is a dog. I see an anchor, someone who eventually I'm preparing for this. When you're in a division and you have Tyreek Hill, you want to make sure. You want to take and make sure that you have a good secondary. You draft for secondary. And that's what the Jets did in this draft. And that's also what the Patriots did in this draft. We'll cover the Bills here shortly. But, man, that's a scary pick right there. Marcus Jones, Houston. Let me get off my soapbox. I'm very jealous that they got him. Then they got Jack Jones, Arizona State, cornerback. Then we got Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong. Shout out to, real quickly, shout out to Devin Jackson. He works for Nolan News. He is a sports anchor. I'd even go as far as calling him an NFL insider. And he is also a blue chip scout, like an actual college scout. Dude is amazing. We've had him on the show twice. And he had the pleasure of interviewing Pierre Strong. And it was a fantastic interview. Check that out. Just type in Pierre Strong interview. Should pop up. This dude went to South Dakota State. And, man, he is a beast. He can catch. He can block. I don't know if he's a 3-down back, but I see James White all over this guy. James White. I mean, and the Patriots, man, again, last 15, 20 years, they've had always historically good running backs, man. I mean, they basically brought back the 72 Dolphins way of thinking, which is, having a running back committee, Look at this 40-yard draft, 4.37. Vertical jump is okay. And then we got the broad jump, 124. 5'11", 207, not a bad height. But, man, this guy is going to ball out for the Patriots. He's going to be part of the committee, and he's going to be an anchor. He will be scoring touchdowns this year for the Pats. Moving on here, once my computer refreshes here. Give me a sec here. I'm almost done, y'all. Billy Zape. I was talking with my buddy Dom Rosano, man. Shout out to Dom if you're watching this episode. We're talking, and it's like a lot of people are not sold on their current quarterback. Drawing a blank right here. Help me out, Soup. Soup, you there? Oh, a lot of people are not sold on their current quarterback at the moment, man. But Bailey Zappe, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, man. He's an absolute beast, man. So that's going to keep their quarterback on the edge of their seat. They got Kevin Harris, South Carolina, another running back. Again, 2 quarterbacks in the same draft. That's nice. Sam Roberts, Northwestern Missouri State University. Chasen Hines, center, LSU, and Andrew Stuber, offensive tackle, Michigan. I like all these picks. Overall, I'm going to take and give the Patriots, again, almost a perfect team. I give them a B+ in this draft. I thought they shored up their secondary. They shored up their running backs. They kept fresh legs back there. Would have liked to take and see them get some receivers, but then this guy right here, Taekwon Thornton, he is the fastest. And this doesn't always, look at, was it John Ross, I think it was, a couple years ago. He had the fastest draft speed time, as far as the 40. Taekwon, this was his year, right? The fastest receiver in the draft, right? That doesn't always mean success, but we also know the Patriots like to run their fair share of trick plays. And I think this guy could potentially be a problem. They know how to get the best out of players. It's very rare, that the Patriots draft bad. So I'm going to take and give them a B+, man. I'm going to give them a B+. I like this draft. Soup, what do you think, man? Oh, Soup, we might have lost you. Let me see here. Let me put this back here. In just a moment here, we're going to take and cover the Buffalo Bills. 1 minute here, y'all. All right. So moving on to the Buffalo Bills. My co-host will be back here in just a moment. But Buffalo Bills, man, again, man, I'm going to put on the thumbnail when I create this video that this is the most dangerous division in the NFL. I know last year I said that it was going to be the AFC North. And this year, nah, man, it's the AFC East, man. The AFC Beasts. That's what I'm going to call it, man. Buffalo Bills. Let's pull up their draft picks. Let's go ahead and go over this here really quickly. We got Cair Elam, James Cook. This is potentially a running back number 1 for them. It's potentially, I won't say he's the best running back in this year's draft, but the guy definitely reflects the Dalvin Cook. And I'm sorry, you can't have your quarterback out there, Josh Allen, out there taking lick after lick, hit after hit after hit. That's something, man, that's real, it concerns me about Josh Allen. Even as a Miami fan, I got to show love to my fellow man. Then we got Terrell Bernard. We got Khalil Shakir, Boise State. That's a nice pickup. And look, if you have a beast defense like the Buffalo Bills have, you definitely want to take and draft a punter. Yet alone, they got Matt Ariza in the 6th round. I was watching, man. I'll be honest with you. I was hoping I was thinking maybe we could get him in the 4th round. But, man, Matt Ariza, what a freaking pickup. I love this pick. This is an exciting pick. The guy is kind of like a sniper with his foot, man. He could potentially be the best punter that we've seen in the NFL in the last 20 years, man. So very exciting to see how things turn out for him. But yeah, definitely, man, him in Buffalo, he's in the polar opposite side of the country from where he was, but I think he's going to do great. And the defense in Buffalo is going to benefit expeditiously, man. It's going to be great. Then we got Christian Benford, cornerback, Villanova, Luke Tenuta, offensive tackle, Virginia Tech. Then for round 7, we got Bailin Specter, linebacker, Clemson. So I like this draft. Again, they're almost a complete team. On top of that, they got Von Miller as well, too. So, hey, if we're grading the free agency, I'm giving them like this crazy pick. I would have liked, I'll be honest with y'all, man, I would have liked to take and see them maybe get like maybe one more receiver and then maybe even another running back. Even though they got James Cook, I love that. So, overall, great draft. I love the punter move as well, too. I really like this draft for them as well. I'm going to give them a solid B. It was a great draft for them, so very excited. Sue, you back here yet?
Oh yeah, I'm here, man. Let me tell you, buddy. This is another A. This is another A draft. And here's the thing: the Buffalo Bills are already a scary team. This draft feels like it was a draft of pure luxury for them. Mm-hmm. And I think they're letting everybody know with the moves they made in the offseason, in the free agency, and this draft. Yeah. They absolutely are planning on being in Arizona for Super Bowl 57 this year, right? Yeah. Some very stout competition, but let's get into it. I'm not going to even touch on all their picks. I just want to touch on a few. Their very first pick, Cair Elam, quarterback out of Florida, right? Didn't have his best season last year. Went down with a knee injury. He was out for 3 games, but he did play the remainder of the season. Didn't have quite the performance that we thought he was going to have based off of coming out of the 2020 season where he played all 12 of the games, but he played 11 games prior in 2019, all 12 in 2020. And then he got, I think 9 in this season as well. He's big. He's physical. He has, he's going to be very, very good as the bookend cornerback, as a CB2 in Buffalo, opposite Tre'Davious White, right? He's going to make it very, very hard for you to drive the field in 13 seconds and go compete for overtime. I think this is something that they were lacking. This is something that they didn't have once Tre'Davious was out for that stretch. I think he's going to bring a lot of fire and tenacity to this defense in the secondary on the back end, right? Coupled with that pass rush that we're adding with Von Miller. So I really, really like that pick. The next pick that I really love for them was absolutely their very next pick is James Cook. Yeah. Not a lot of usage on this guy. He has a lot of tread on the tires. As we know, like Georgia's been churning out some pretty excellent running backs these last few years, regardless of where they are today. Like we can't argue about a lot of their contributions since they come in the league, starting with Todd Gurley, right? We saw his performance as of right now, and it'll be snapped immediately following the first touchdown of next season. But as of right now, nobody scored more rushing touchdowns than Todd Gurley, and he was out of the league this year. Like to this day, Todd Gurley has the most since he's come into the league. So, and then right behind that, right, we have Nick Cook over at not Nick Cook. What's my boy's name? Browns James running Cook? Back. No, Browns running back. Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb. Sony Michel, 2-time Super Bowl winning Sony Michel, right? Like this is just coming from a long line of good Georgia backs. This is just another one. And here's the dangerous thing about James Cook. Sure, he's not as physical as his older brother Dalvin, right? But he is quick and he is shifty and he is impossible to cover out of the backfield, man. This is a space catching running back. He is about to be Josh Allen's best friend, because instead of him having to look way, way, way down the field and find Stephon Diggs, he can dump it to James Cook, and James Cook can rip off 10 to 15 yards at will. It is going to make it incredibly hard to stop this very, very powerful Buffalo offense. So I really like the fit there. I also like the wide receiver that they took in the 5th, Khalil Shakir out of Boise. Another big physical receiver. And I think this is where he's going to slot in, is where they had Emmanuel Sanders playing, right? This is not a kid that's going to beat you over the top, but he's got some of the bigger physical traits. And I think when you're having to play down in the short game covering a James Cook, and you're going to have to play deep, right, on Stephon Diggs, this is a guy that's going to eat you up over the middle, that's going to find himself open quite a bit. So I like the fit. And then you kind of touched on it, Doug. Matt Ariza, the punt god, as some are calling him. We'll see if that translates to the NFL. We hope it translates to the NFL. Well, you don't if you got to play the Buffalo Bills. But, man, if he's able to produce at the level that he was able to produce at San Diego State, and a lot of people were saying that, you know, they have questions around this kid because he really only came onto the scene this last year. But if he can continue that, right, he is going to make flipping the field for the Buffalo, and that Buffalo defense is going to be a nightmare for opposing teams, man. So I really like the pick. I like what they did. I think they had a very, very good draft. Just like I said, if we're just grading it off the day, obviously we can't do true grades until 3 years from now. This is an A draft for me, and it's a luxury draft.
Love it.
Mike Williams.
Welcome back, Mike. What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Hey, Mike. Without getting too far into it, man, because we're just wrapping up AFC East. Give me real quick, can I get your grade on Buffalo in their draft?
Buffalo, I give them a solid. I'd say a solid B plus, because I feel like they filled a need opposite corner. They got some depth at tackle. They got another running back. And again, James Cook isn't like a power back. I think you need that in Buffalo with that weather. But he's a speed back, versatile. So I give him a solid B plus, man. I don't think it was the best in their division, but they didn't have many holes, but they filled them up and got some depth.
Now we covered the best in their division.
Yeah. It was a good draft.
Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.